So I guess we're going to have to touch on the subject of supremacy because there's a few groups in the world that seem to covet supremacy over the world, and that's annoying. I'm not interested in that. I've had enough of that over the eons, so trying to do something different, evolve a more peaceful and harmonious way. Uh, Obviously, if you're going to try and talk about the concept of supremacy of these groups over another, it has to come through non-peaceful ways, so that's not to the interest of the collective in the world. So it seems to be a problem mainly focused with the Abrahamic religions. It's been back and forth between Catholicism and then Islamism and Judaism, or modern day it's this battle between Christians, Islamics, and Jews in Israel. And then there's the Chinese Communist Party. Seems to have a unfortunate desire for supremacy. And then there's this peculiar covert, I'm not anti-Semitic, but I'll call them fake Jews that seem to think that they're somehow entitled to own and control the world, and they seem to operate as if such, as we see in government and business all too much everywhere, too many places. So you can see where there's the need for that to change, because these supremacist ideologies and the parties and administrations that would try to operate with them are counterproductive to the way forward for the world. It is not progressive. These communist, socialist, militant, fascist, militant Islamists, basically any totalitarian, authoritarian ideology where government seems to value itself too much. This is not progressive. This is not the ideal way forward. You're delusional, and you're trying to force something that's not meant to be, and it's just not going to work. You're creating a fight that does not need to be created because you're trying to force something unreasonable that's antithetical to everyone, a great many people's intentions. Yeah, sure, you might be able to get a small group, but you're never going to be able to get the whole, and that's the problem that you encounter because you think you're entitled to, but you're not. So, great many folks had a problem with white supremacy, and so it should also make sense that they would have a problem with black supremacy, brown supremacy, pick your color, any kind of supremacy. We're done with all of that concept. We are the supreme. We are the supreme. Collectively, the population of Earth is the supreme. And beyond, of course. Like, I'm not localizing it just to Earth. Like, the supreme is the supreme. You want to take it to the fullest extent, then you might as well just talk about the entire universe, and that's the supreme. But, God, universal consciousness, there's your supreme. The idea that it's going to be one macrocosmic or it's the macrocosm would be the supreme. The idea that it's going to be one microcosmic component within the macrocosm claiming supremacy over the rest of the macrocosm is absurd. So you logically should be able to observe the scientific reality as if there's a observable science to it now, that why it doesn't work. So the aforementioned groups and the ideologies of totalitarian supremacy, of the military police state and government control and censorship of freedom of speech, and like, you think you want to control and rule the world, one group or another, or covertly continue what you think you've been up to, how you think you own and control the world. I know who I'm talking to. You don't, and it's being taken from you, and there's nothing you can do about it. This planet is for I, we, all the people, and you do not get to claim it for your family or your little group of friends, your cult. And you just don't have any choice but to accept this. I'm speaking to corporations, royalty. You need to rethink your concept of globalism and this concept of domination of the world. Like, great, yeah, make a global business. We have global business, we have global commerce, travel, communication. That's fine. So keep that. But we don't need to have this global top-down control. We don't need it. We can do a more honorable and respectful system where everyone, if you would respect the teachings that are in harmony with facilitation of harmony between people, if you would allow for those teachings instead of trying to corrupt them, trying to censor them, then we would be able to have a more harmonious existence between demographics, and it certainly should be religions. And so in the absence of letting go of this supremacist ideology from groups that have it, you can then be more mature and harmonious with everyone, and we can actually get some real work done and accomplish in a paradigm that everyone wants to willingly, free will choose to participate in, as that will garner the best results. You try and convince with your propaganda that fear and dominion will, scaring people into compliance is going to yield the best results in productivity in a company or in manufacturing or exploration or in any capacity. But it's not. The free will participation towards a common good, common goal it's like you can see why that's the way it seems to win. Not only complacency away from that seems to cause it to falter, but once everyone gets back on point, the ones who would try and take advantage of the cause to falter then regret it. So maybe we could just exercise a little more pragmatism and practicality in our civilization and our civilizational interactions between nations and cultures. You can logically see how the quest for supremacy is quite undesirable. So I would encourage the aforementioned groups, if I'm getting a little more specific, like China, keep your own borders and stop harassing your neighbors. The Philippines, certainly Taiwan, the sovereignty of Taiwan will be respected. So let go of these fantasies that you want to encroach upon your neighbors and take more territory in these little nitpicky ways that I'm hearing about. It's not going to win friends and influence people. And we have in our best interest to commit to a more harmonious way forward. And I get it. We've had a problem with some serious liberal globalists and communist, fascist, Marxist ideologues from the West as well. And so we're doing what we need to do to defeat them. But I'm here holding everyone accountable for what I'm seeing. So east, west, north, south, we're not having the supremacy of nation over the world, of the UN and the World Health Organization and a globalist conglomerate telling everyone what to do. Like the World Economic Forum, you're not supremacist either. You're not supreme. Give up on that. Islam, you're convert or die or pay taxes. No, you're that whole concept, that ideology is quite expendable. Of this convert or else, we're done with that. So I would encourage you to give up on that behavior and find other ways to win people over. If you think your ideology is so great, that's what the others do. Friendly competition, figure it out. Christianity is reasonably humbled itself, although I keep hearing too much about a covert supremacist ideology from even within Catholicism, and back to the concept of who are these fake Jews. I hear the term Ashkenazi attached to it. I hear the term Khazarian. These covert identity thieving, lying, cheating, stealing. I'm hearing it about the Freemasons. Simultaneously, groups that seem to possess a profound degree of wisdom, as per your propaganda. I am a movie buff. I like watching the films, but it's like you're putting all of that. You confound yourselves and your legacy when you use the knowledge of the 33 degree. I know what you know. I know probably more than you think you know, because you stumble, you shoot yourselves in the foot, whereas I don't. So kinda undoing you. 12 on the clock. I repeat a mantra frequently that you'll never be able to undo. And we got are winning, and you're floundering. So this covert take over the world supremacist movement is finished. If you're committed towards that, any of you police, military, ministers, government personnel, whoever, if you're trying to work towards this supremacist, even in America, UK, we're not having supremacist comeback either. So we're trying to figure out how to work in harmony with the world and our neighbors. And I understand, I get that there may be a necessary degree of arrests and deportations of incompatible ideologues from the West. There are no entitlements to revenge for the invasion and conquerings of the past. So don't be a hypocrite. Don't go and think that because it happened from west to east in yesteryear century that you're entitled to it in this century. We need to break the chains and cycles of this behavior if we are to effectively move forward on this planet towards a more ideal, beneficial, harmonious paradigm. Or the alternative is your self-destruction. I don't think that's your goal, but if you refuse to operate in harmony, and if you covet some sort of domineering supremacy, then you're going to be hitting a wall of your own self-destruction, which will take form in many ways. Your plans fail, you fall ill, financial things go wrong, all of that. So just play nice in the world, because we're evolving to a new paradigm, and you're going to want to be in harmony with that if you want to be able to succeed going forward, because we're rejecting the totalitarian supremacist ideologies. So get with the program.